And I guess we are ready now to go to the Dargonus system. Like, technically I could go up here and explore these unknown locations, but there's a good chance that those would also spread out. Oh, this is where Votvir sent a message from. And apparently there's some Eldari survivors there. We do want to make our way up there at some point. Is that going to be like the main quest? I don't know how you determine what's a main quest or not. Is that Odenathus 11? Yeah, okay. So that's this quest that we've got up here at the very top. This is our DLC quest to follow the Matriarch Spider. I should do that at some point. I keep not doing it. Let's go to Dargonus, which means we'll have to stop through Mundus Nullius first, then move on here. But probably in the next little while, we're going to head up there just to carry on with that quest. Then we'll move on to Dargonus, but we'll make it unsafe. Again, we're not getting any sort of events as we travel. Colony event. An important event has occurred in one of your protectorate colonies, which calls for the rogue trader's personal attention. You can visit the colony and complete the event at any time. You can find out more information about it. Okay. I bring woeful news, Lord Captain. Prelate Hectarius of the Order of the Hammer has passed away. Immediately after the launch of the orbital Voxspire, he entered the halls of recording, and having sat on the command throne, was granted a vision. For over 3 days, Prelate Hectarius preached about Saint Cognatius being reincarnated in a body made from the saint's own holy relics. This spiritual feat depleted Prelate Hectarius' strength, and he peacefully departed for the Emperor's throne shortly after the sermon's conclusion. The Order's elders believe this to be a sign that Saint Cognatius' relics, currently stored on planets throughout the Expanse, must be brought together. The Order is preparing for the election of a new prelate, under whose guise it will undertake this holy mission. The majority of the votes are divided between Prioress Lagunalia, well known for her fervor, and merciful Cellarer Tychon. The minority of the Order seek the Oikonomos Nigmus, a humble and reasonable man, as their prelate. Does his death not strike you as odd? How does the Order intend to carry out Saint Cognatius' mission? I wish to know more about the candidates. Yes. Will my companions say we'll support either Lagunalia or Brother Tychon? Or I need an obedient prelate, one such as Brother Nigmus, which requires... No, it will gain us profit factor because we'll have an influential servant. Because Brother Nigmus will be indebted to us. Does his death not strike you as odd? I'm afraid it does not. The esteemed Hectarius, that is a strange word, began his service as a battle missionary and has long grown weary of the peaceful life befitting a man of his status. He yearned for a worthy spiritual feat, and when presented with the chance to serve as the voice of a saint, he gave what little strength remained. When he died, he was exhausted, but content. How does the Order intend to carry out his mission? The Conclave aims to procure all the relics that once belonged to Saint Cognatius. All that can possibly be procured. Given that the saint is a legendary figure, many items in the Koronus Expanse have an alleged connection to him. However, it seems unlikely that any of the relics' owners will be eager to part with them. The answer to the question of how the Order of the Hammer is going to retrieve them depends on the identity of its next prelate. And I wish to know more about the candidates. Prioress Lugnalia was converted by Hectarchius on one of the heathen worlds. She then served as his bodyguard for many years and eventually became the protector of the Order's reliquary and the leader of its military branch. As for Brother Tychon, he is an aristocrat by birth. He had an excellent education and could have lived in luxury had he not renounced secular life for the sake of his ascetic vows. He is intelligent, thoughtful, well-read, and most importantly, genuinely merciful. Few things can be said about the Oikonomos Nigmus. He has never been famous for his prowess in battle or his sermons, but the monastery has never wanted for anything on his watch. He is a most reasonable and unobtrusive individual. What will my companions say? I have sympathy for Prioress Lugnalia. Let her meet with Reverend Hieronymus on footfall. Should he accept her as a worthy leader, we ought to support her. A careful and sensible Oikonomos sounds like a safer bet to me than a fanatic or a clever aristocrat. The voices say that he has a few paltry secrets, and knowledge of those secrets guarantees us his loyalty. Brother Tychon, he and I have met back when he was called Tychon Drivestem. He wasn't a monk back then. He was a grandson and heir to Urband, governor of Dargonus, an honorable young man with a spark in his eyes. His ascension would mean much for the Drivestems. So 3 companions give their opinion, and they're each pushing for someone different. Let Lugnalia meet with Hieronymus Doloroso. If he approves of her candidature, we will support her, which would give us a bunch of relationship with the Drusians. Abelard seated at the house Drivestem thanks us for the assistance we provided to their kin. No direct benefit now, but we're about to go to Dargonus, and so maybe we're going to interact with them, and that could have an impact. Adira, uncover some of Nigmus' secrets. I need an obedient prelate. That would give us security and profit factor. I think the more zealous individual, Lugnalia, makes sense. And if she meets with the Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso, and he's cool with her, that does seem good to me. And the additional relationship points with the Drusians will also be of value. So I'm going to throw my weight behind Lugnalia. Let Lugnalia meet with Hieronymus Doloroso. If he approves of her candidature, we will support her. His Holiness will see the truth. Reverend Hieronymus arrived on Foulstone and met with the prioress. After a confession and a philosophical discussion in private, he acknowledged Lugnalia as being worthy of a high ecclesiastical station and guaranteed her the support of the cult of St. Drusus. Prioress Lugnalia has been chosen as the prelate of the Order of the Hammer. A faithful militia is taking up arms to stake their claim to St. Cognatius' relics. The neighboring worlds look upon Foulstone with worry and fear, just as they do upon its patron, the rogue trader. Yeah, so she's probably going to be a bit more militant in her efforts to get back the relics. Oh, there is a pirate raid. Lord Captain's presence will be required. Lord Captain's presence on a colonized world is required. Travel to the colony system and explore what is happening on the planet. So we're going to have to, at some point, travel back to Foulstone to deal with a pirate raid. In the meantime, there are no things we can order to have made here. We need even more reputation with the Drusians for that one, more reputation with the explorers, and more reputation with the Drusians. $15,000 is at least somewhat close-ish and doable. 22,000 is crazy. So this one we won't be able to get because it requires bonfires of righteousness, which we didn't grab. I guess maybe we shouldn't have gone with that one because we already chose not to go with the crusade option, which is the more fanatical. We went with good tidings instead, which is just the astropathic preaching. I don't know. Anything going on at Janus? No. We've already built everything we can for now. We just need more reputations. Alright. So where was Foulstone? It was back here. That'd be quite a few jumps to get back to here. We could do it. And if I did come back here, I'd probably want to just go to the Imperium because I've been curious about that. But I think for now, let's check out here while we're there. See what's going on in Dargonus. I just don't know how soon we're going to be required. If there's a time limit on that. Yeah, I guess I don't know if there's going to be a problem of us taking too long and therefore we fail that mission or something. Lord Captain, Master Helmsman on the line. I can report that the quest for the capital world of the Von Valencius dynasty is finally at an end. Dargonus is straight ahead. We've received countless greetings. Your subject would like to know when their master will be arriving. The merchant captains, taking refuge in the orbital docks of Dargonus, race to send you priceless welcoming gifts, hoping to buy your favor and make an impression on the rogue trader. Dargonus, the rogue trader, is coming home. My subject should exercise patience. I will go to Dargonus later. No, tell them the rogue trader is coming home. It might send us directly to Dargonus rather than exploring the system first, but that's fine. It will be done, Lord Captain. After the connection to the Master Helmsman is cut, the device crackles with Heinrich's voice. Lord Captain, I will be pleased to accompany you during your visit to Dargonus, so I can personally introduce Achilles Scalander, a servant of the Golden Throne who previously attended Lady Theodora on Dargonus. I am counting on your benevolence. The Voxcast ends with a click. Okay, and it's not actually forcing us to go to Dargonus first. We also need to bring Jai to Dargonus because we need to get a not a warrant of trade. that's the rogue trader thing, but we need there was a document she needs to prove that she is legally a merchant or something. Yeah, it's funny that we still need to scan like the worlds in our capital planet system, whatever, our capital system, because it's like, surely these should be in our ship systems. Like the fact that we don't even know their name, tithe grade, etc. until we scan them. 4 Phlogiston is getting close. I think 5 is about where I want to use my extractiums. If I had, 6 on board, I might be willing to use it for 4. But I think I'll hold off. Particularly we have 6 of this available already. If I need more, we can come back here. No resources here. How did this world look before it was enveloped in this fiery shroud? Was it your ancestors, Alantok, who disgorged its core in some ill-considered act? I don't know, maybe. Possibly crack open the world to get its resources. Gas giant, no resources. Let's go to the Mechanicus ship before we actually go down to Dargonus. They might just send us away because a lot of Mechanicus places have. Lord Captain, a transport shuttle bearing the markings of the Adeptus Mechanicus is approaching the ship. Magos Tarzus' delegation intends to board our ship and gain an audience with your lordship. This is exactly how they phrased it. He intends, not humbly requests. Many of my tech comrades neglect diplomacy when interacting with the laity. It is regrettable. What do they want? Tell them to get lost and learn some manners. Punish them for their disrespect by letting them dock at the farthest and most dilapidated airlock so that it takes them an eternity to traverse the ship. Or receive the delegation, they may indeed be here on important business. What do they want? The honorable servants of the Omnissiah have ignored our request. Such arrogance is hardly trivial. It rather appears to be part of their intimidation tactics. So they are demanding an audience, not asking, and when we ask what they want, they're ignoring it. Which seems to be an intimidation tactic. Pascal was saying that they're just neglecting diplomacy. Not that it's an intentional act against us. Our Voxmaster is implying it's seems more intentional. I'm not going to tell them to get lost. Question is, do I punish them by making them dock forever far away? Or do I just receive them? Because I don't really want to annoy the tech priests, because they are a useful faction to be friendly with. I'm going to receive the delegation. We don't need to immediately start a fight for effectively no reason. It will be done, Lord Captain. Requesting permission to be present at the audience granted to my tech comrades. Absolutely. Having you available to help translate their speech would be useful. So we're going to have Pascal. Let's get rid of Irliet and bring in Argenta. And we'll leave Abelard rather than Heinrichs. Alright, leveling you up now. Whenever you're attacked in melee range, you can dodge and move back a cell. Maybe. More damage whenever prey deals damage to an ally, I think seems reasonable. There we go. Opticon 22. Okay, so he's the one we regularly were working with on Footfall. So he's all the way out here now. Can we explore the rest of the room before we start that conversation? I don't know Tarzus.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Random tech priest. Lay people interfering with the operation of the sacred mechanism disturbs the machine spirits. In the name of the Omnissiah, refrain from any further profane acts. So this looks pretty similar, or maybe it is the same hall of relics that we saw like at the very beginning of the game when we were making our way to talk to Theodora. Yeah, where they were building a spot for a battle tank. So it looks like they've finished that. So Tarzus has brought a bunch of sharpshooters, adepts, etc. I don't know who you are, but the fact that you've brought a bunch of militant people on board makes me worried that this is going to end up as a fight. A group dressed in the crimson of the priesthood of Mars walks towards you. Their gaze are fixed on Pascal. You note the group is not monolithic. Some of its members are more heavily armed and follow a large tech priest clad in battle armor. Others keep a respectful distance and cast inquiring looks at their own leader, whose hunched posture belies his tall frame. Despite the hood hiding his face, you recognize him as Opticon 22, whom you encountered on Footfall. The enormous tech priest points his hand at Pascal and lets out a booming roar, not unlike a factory alarm. It makes your very bones vibrate. Herald servo skulls marked with the emblem of the cog follow in its wake. They blare shrilly. Thou shalt not suffer a heretic in thy forge, for rust begets rust. Pascal Hahnemann, in the name of the Adeptus Mechanicus, you are under arrest. Interesting. So they came here very aggressively with the sole purpose of trying to arrest Pascal. Which the tech priests do have authority to basically go where they want to police their own. So it's kind of a mixture of we are the rogue trader, so we have full authority to do whatever we want, but they also, to some extent, have full authority to go where they need to arrest a heretic. Very interesting. I wonder what they're going to accuse him of. A hunched servant of the Omnissiah turns to you. Diplomacy mode engaged. Announcement. The Adeptus Mechanicus offer their apologies for, would like to inform you of the necessity of conducting an operation to detain, arrest, terminate a faulty unit on the rogue trader's territory. I mean, we know who Opticon 22 is. Let Pascal do his tech use to study the priests of Mars. Reasonable. Glory to the Adeptus Mechanicus, I'm ready to cooperate. Who dares to arrive on my ship uninvited, asking for trouble, are you cogs? I won't charge you trying to arrest a member of my retinue. Even though we know who Opticon 22 is, I'm going to go down through the options. Who are you? Although we do also hopefully get an answer from Tarzus. In a burst of chattering, the servo skulls hasten to translate their master's mighty binaric howl, an instrument of the Omnissiah authorized to punish and exact vengeance, known by the designation Tarzus Hahnemann. You're also a Hahnemann. That's the third Hahnemann we've run into. There was Abel Hahnemann that we met, Pascal Hahnemann, and now Tarzus Hahnemann. Identification codes recognized and confirmed. These units are who they declare themselves to be. Alright, Pascal, study these two priests for me. You identify the rare armor the enormous tech priest is wearing as Secutor's plated mechanized suit. It carries the imprints of many battles and has markings that announce its status as a relic. Some of the armor's damage looks fairly severe, to the point of endangering its operation. The slivers of flesh revealed under the steel are marked with terrible chemical burns. Every now and then, convulsions shake the tech priest's body, and a painful-sounding hiss comes from his vox. The tall tech priest who spoke to you looks more peaceful and makes a point of not drawing his weapons. There is an air of concern about the way he frequently glances. Getting a spam call. Let's just turn that off. Makes a point of not drawing his weapon. There's an air of concern about the way he frequently glances over at his fellow, scrutinizing his condition. I'm ready to cooperate, but I also want to know what the charges are. Hopefully we can ask both. I'm not going to insult them. Glory to the Adeptus Mechanicus. I am ready to cooperate. Willingness to cooperate recorded. Mandate expanded. I request the right to conduct non-interference in the operation to detain, arrest, terminate the unit falsely identifying itself as Pascal Hahnemann. Falsely identifying itself? You're saying that Pascal Hahnemann, who's been with me for ages at this point, isn't actually the real Pascal Hahnemann? This heretic is accused of stealing personal identification codes, spreading tech heresy on the world of Kiava Gamma, and making an attempt on the life of the servant of the Omnissiah. The deafening roar from the tech priest's vox makes you grimace in pain. You touch your ears and notice blood on your fingers. The faulty unit will be removed. In the name of the Omnissiah, I condemn you. Lightning flashes across the warrior's arm. Agony resounds in the blare of his vox alarm. In contrast, Pascal speaks quietly and coldly. You are malfunctioning, tech comrade. I deem your logical conclusions questionable. The statement is false. Tech brother Tarzus Hanuman is willingly undergoing holy torment deterioration, which, however, does not critically affect his cognitive capacity for data analysis. Unit calling itself Pascal Hanuman, we have information that implicates you. Having learned that you are a member of the retinue, a maintenance specialist in the service of Rogue Trader von Valencius, we have come here with the goal of meeting you, intercepting you, engaging you in combat. Grimace, does the big fellow have to roar? Point to the furious servant of the Omnissiah. Do you have proof that this tech priest is who he claims to be? Wait a minute. What is happening on Kava Gamma? That planet belongs to me. What did you say to this, Pascal? I'm not handing Pascal over to you unless I see evidence. Let us get to the bottom of this matter together. Get off my ship now, and if you ever try to arrest anyone in my domain again, you will regret it. Or Pascal, I think you should go with these people. I will just start by saying, does he have to roar? Because apparently it's gotten to the point where my ears are actually bleeding. So hopefully he can tone it down a touch. Negative. Upon completing his sanctification procedure, Tech Brother Tarzus modified his engrammatic augmetics algorithms in order never to desecrate, solely tarnish his mouth-vox cognitive process with flesh speak. Servo Skull Screech. Mine is a pure and binaric tongue that preserves only what is true and shuns scrap data. Are you saying this bloodthirsty Hulk is a saint? I mean, I wouldn't have phrased it that way. But yes, are you saying that he's a saint? This statement is true. Brother Tarzus has the honor of wearing authorization to wear the sacred battle harness that belonged to Magos militant Ospector Gracchus, one of the first champions of the faith holy scouts to join the cause of conquering the Koronus Expanse. After his death, the termination of his vital functions, at the hands of xenos, his damaged Goliath-class armor was preserved and given the status of a relic. The Adeptus Mechanicus regards this act as voluntary martyrdom, self-destruction for the glory of the Deus Mechanicus. This battle harness is classified as Cogni armor. The machine spirit living in it is strong and wise, but it took major damage in the course of Magos Gracchus's last battle. Besides sacred litanies and imperatives of service to the Omnissiah, the armor broadcasts a continuous signal of suffering and agony into Tech Brother Tarzus' mind. Do you have proof that this tech priest is who he claims to be? Confirmed. According to the archive entry 1E99237, Magos exploiter Tarzus Hanuman served on, maintained the ship identifier classified in the capacity of a reliquary caretaker. He sustained extensive damage to both the organic and sacred part of his body in a series of sacrilegious breaches of the right of operation and assassination attempt. Owing to the statistically fortunate coincidence, by the Omnissiah's grace, enough of his operational capacity was preserved for him to don a Goliath model sacred battle harness, which would preserve his vital functions functionality. Archive entry personally data sealed by the captain of the identifier classified. The sounds from the tech priest's box is like the moan of a bending steel beam. The Servo Skull declares, "For vengeance I thirst as I tread the path of vengeance, following a blasphemous miscreant's bloody tracks." Analysis of the security system showed that the assassins heretics infiltrated the reliquary using Tech Brother Tarzus' unique identification code. Someone had duplicated Brother Tarzus' identity, which is a grade 3 transgression, and the unit making the alleged criminal claim of being Pascal Hanuman is known to have previously entered the stolen code. Well, what's happening at Kiava Gamma? That planet belongs to me. According to Vox interception data, the planet's fabricator sensor made incorrect blasphemous modifications to Manufactorum working procedures, which qualifies as a lapse into sacrilege. The Adeptus Mechanicus are hereby officially notifying House von Valencius of having commenced an investigation into operation to remove fabricator sensor Cubus Delphim. Estimated time to procedure completion, 3.7 solar years. Our data suggests that the unit which used Magos Explorator Hanuman's identification code performed an unauthorized upgrade of on the planetary Vox array and introduced data deemed to be scrap code into its operation. This fact points to the unit's criminal complicity with the heretics Cubus Delphim. There's a lot going on here, and the fact that they keep using just last names when two of them have the same last name is not ideal. What do you have to say to this, Pascal? Pascal replies firmly, his vox crackling with a hint of indignation. I deny these charges. I never plotted against my tech comrade. My cognitive purity vows were never distorted. My unique identification code was never stolen. I am the true Magus exploiter Hanuman, and I am not guilty. The tech priest's deep guttural roars blends with the service girl's high-pitched whine. False witness. I am not handing Pascal over to you unless I see evidence. Let us get to the bottom of this matter together. Request approved. Ready to work in cooperative mode. Tarzus gives you a haughty look and lets out a howl of wrath. Archiving. Tech Brother Tarzus opposes lay participation in the investigation search for the truth. The unit Opticon 22 advises in favor of the House von Valencius's representative's participation request. Address Opticon 22. I think you and I should continue this discussion in private. The big chaff is creating friction. Yes, he seems very singularly minded and not willing to budge at all to see if there's anything else going on. He's just confident Pascal is a heretic and wants to just kill him without any sort of investigation, at least here. I guess he thinks he's done sufficient investigation before arriving. Lord Imperium, guaranteed success. I insist on joining a joint investigation. Arresting a rogue trader's retinue member without any justification stands in breach of the laws and the privileges under the warrant of trade. Persuasion, also 100%, is Pascal has accompanied me on my travels for a while now, and I can swear to it that he is no criminal. Get off my ship, or Pascal, you should join these people. I'm not going to persuade to swear he's no criminal. I think he's not a criminal, but I think it's better for us to do the investigation or join the investigation. Because apparently by law, we have the right to it. But I don't think trying to cut out the big scary guy and just work through things with Opticon is necessarily the right option either. So yeah, I insist on a joint investigation. Arresting the rogue trader's retinue member without any justification stands in breach of law and my privilege under the warrant of trade. Request for cooperation reviewed and accepted. I request Tech Brother Tarzus consent to the co-participation of representatives of the von Valencius dynasty in the investigation proceedings. A sacrilegious conspiracy. I refuse to help from laypersons. I am a cog of the Deus Mechanicus that grinds down corruption, and I will carry out the sentence immediately. No investigation, just going straight to murder, which goes against our legal situation. So he is actively breaking the law in an effort to take down who he sees as a heretic. We're gonna have to kill him, even though we were just told he was a saint. But he's clearly off his rocker. Oh, he's doing that weird thing he did before where he broke machinery just by pointing at it. That's what he did when we first met him. When he like blew up a tank or something. I think maybe it was like a crane. Pascal freezes, but green sparks light up his visor. He extends a hand towards Tarzus and replies in a clanging voice, "Let the cycle be discontinued." You realize Pascal's words are coming from both his own Vox and Tarzus's. Then every sensor on the executioner's battle harness lights up at once, blindingly, and the wounded armored Leviathan lets out a deafening roar of pain. I mean, I could definitely see how they would consider that action heretical. Just pointing at a holy relic armor and saying a phrase that causes it to explode and all of its sensors go crazy. Like, that's probably not an ability that's supposed to exist. Attention, priority notification. Services under the Kappa thread supply line are unauthorized to confront the rogue trader. Command, retreat and reinitiate negotiations. Okay, so Opticon is still on our side. Sounds like. He's getting ready to attack and he's saying, no, we are unauthorized to confront the rogue trader. You have to pull back. Heretic Pascal, I will wreak punishment upon you in the name of the Deus Mechanicus. I didn't see the other line.
Submit, and you'll die quickly.
Let's see if we can see it still. Yeah. Retreat and reinitiate negotiations. Direct punishment. Estimated probability of conflict inevitable. Initiating retreat, confrontation avoidance, redeployment protocol. So Opticon is taking his people and just running. Because he realizes there's no chance this is going to avoid combat. And yeah, it looks like they're completely gone. Alright, Tarzus. You're a level 4 enemy. 288 health, decent amount of deflection and armor. Anything super crazy? You've got an omniscient axe. Embrace the machine, reject the flesh 4. At the end of each turn, this creature suffers 10 direct damage, but gains a stacking +5 damage bonus. Also, at the end of its turn, this creature makes 1 attack against everyone within melee range. Okay. So at the end of its turn, everyone within melee gets an extra attack on them. The creature doesn't have its own resolve and has no influence on momentum. Weird. A couple of basic servitors. Just level 2 enemies. Tarzus has a sword. Whenever it's hit in melee, it immediately counterattacks. Bit scary, that. Sharpshooter. Adept. You're only a level 2 enemy. You've got a basic stub carbide. Operative abilities. And what are you? A Vicar. Vicar, something. Also stub carbide. Also some basic operative abilities, analyze enemies and whatnot. Yeah, I think obviously Tarzus is the scariest. I'm unsure about the servitors. This guitar seems also a bit scary. The other 3 don't seem that bad. Alright, let's get our ranged people hiding out in the back, as usual. Full cover there seems to make sense to me. Argenta. Actually, if we put Cassia here and Argenta here, Cassia might, once I move these guys out of the way, Cassia might be able to just do a third eye shot at all of them. Although I could actually switch them and do the same thing from here. If we move all of my melee allies. Yeah, we're having a confrontation with another Hanneman. This is the 3rd Hanneman we've met. Pascal Hanneman, there was an Abel Hanneman we met early on. And now we've got this Tarzus Hanneman. So yeah, let's pull our allies back a bit. I mean, we could just move Hanneman into the middle of things. Or not Pascal. Did you get Abel along with you? No, Abel died in that time, I believe. Although I've read later on that apparently he's supposed to join you. So I'm wondering if maybe Like, that he's supposed to join you, but there was a glitch that... a bug in the game that occasionally he wouldn't. And so I'm wondering if I hit that bug. But I don't know for sure if anything went wrong with how that played out. But we didn't get him. Yeah, I think we'll just let things play out like this. Start the battle. So if I used her third eye, yeah, I can hit basically all of them. Not that one. Yeah. No spoilers. But yeah, I think there was a bug that I might have hit, but it's been fixed at this point. But my game just is in the bug state. And that's fine. So let's first do front line of like here.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Then boost crits on you probably.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
And then a dodge bonus. Here seems reasonable. Then we'll do my usual bring it down on Ignatius, but we can't because he's too far away.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
Alright. Do ignite on ourselves, as always. And then orchestrate flames.
Suits my purposes.
Just to give us one more psi rating. We still have another action because it triggered allowing us a free action. So we'll do run and gun,
Problem for me.
which will allow me to do another ignite. Probably on you, Tarzus. 48 to 78 damage is no joke. We nearly kill a whole servitor.
Suits my purposes.
There you go. And inflame. Taking 45 fire damage every round. That sounds good to me. We still have another action point, but we can't use it for anything, sadly. We could move, but I am fairly happy with where I'm standing. Back to you. Let's third eye all of them. Assuming I can get a spot. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, my psyker abilities are pretty powerful at this point. Like, I started him with the soldier class and then moved on to... I don't even know what class he's using, but I never use any of the abilities. He's just basically a pure psyker. Yeah, when Ignatius gets a turn, particularly if Cassia can use her ability, like the finest hour, to give him an extra turn with full AP and MP, and he can just use a whole turn of igniting everyone, he just wins the fight. Ignite's so powerful on him. That's the end of her turn. Argenta. Not really thrilled that you have so many allies in your way. Because I don't want to accidentally shoot one of my companions. Well, let's mark you as prey.
Without deeds is worthless.
Grenade? We could grenade. It's not a terrible option. I probably should have prepped more grenades, like the crack grenade or frag grenade, because force grenades mainly just knock enemies away. I could light a bunch on fire. That wouldn't be the worst call. Although... no, we could go here. Then we wouldn't accidentally hit Cabela. Because anywhere I throw it here, I can hit those back three. or the front 3. But I can't quite get it into a position where I can get more of them. Or do I just take the shot? Because we could boost the shot with Claim the Bounty or Cull the Bold. Probably Cull the Bold. And then take a pretty reasonable shot there. Basically, do I want to focus down on this one or do a little bit of damage by lighting some enemies on fire? Knowing that Ignatius is going to take that fire damage and increase it dramatically on his turn. We'll just start with the grenade, see how it works, or how well it works. I don't use grenades very often. So they are taking a good amount of burning. Though it'll be hard for my melee characters to get in there. Then I can still do run and gun to get an additional shot. And I can add one of these. Claim the Bounty is a free single attack. But it's not going to kill the target. So let's go with Cull the Bold, which will increase the damage.
As the Emperor commands, I act.
And you can make a single shot here. 36 to 45. This doesn't increase it at all, does it? No. We have a free AP as well because of run and gun. So yeah, this costs 0 AP, so I could also do Claim the Bounty. We can do that after the shot. There you go. Solid. I'm going to mark this one as bounty as well,
Without deeds is worthless.
since that's a free action. Then claim the bounty on you or you. We're not going to kill either of you. We'll go here,
As the
just for a
Emperor
bit more
commands,
damage.
I act.
And then Furious Recital.
I'll do it.
That seems like a reasonable turn. Bello, what do I do with you? Could move you right here and have you go to town. I think I shall.
I am your blade.
Yeah, you're on fire a little bit. It's fine.
Trust me.
Okay. Hit all of them is probably a reasonable choice.
Final web.
Sadly, none of them died. We make him hemorrhage. This could kill. What if we give him a weak spot
I shall not fail.
and then hemorrhage? Ah, didn't quite kill. Where are you at? 1 health? No, 11 health. This does 12. I mean, he's gonna die to burning. I don't really need to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Death is a blessing.
Alright. So the main enemy is dead. Then could I get you into some sort of cover? If I used this. maybe. So I think we can move twice with it. So if I told you to go down this way.
As honor ordains.
Then you can take some cover here. And that seems like a reasonable choice. 14 damage per turn due to fire is kind of bad. Okay, you're doing lots of analysis on Pascal. Alright, Ignatius. Everyone's burning. You can probably make use of that. If we do a firestorm... hits a good amount of people. It's not showing that it's hitting those guys, even though they're within the range, probably because it's blocked by that. So yeah, they're just slightly too scattered apart for Firestorm to work. That is a shame. Well, if I did something like this... Okay, that can take out 2 of them. Could also do lightning arc. Nah, that's nowhere near powerful enough. We'll go with you. 138 damage, 167 damage. Those are some giant numbers.
Already done. Power before my might.
Haha.
Nothing I can't do.
Alright, we'll use Revel and Slaughter, which will allow me to run and gun. Run and gun will allow me to ignite again. And we'll ignite this guy who's not currently on fire, which is such a shame.
Not a problem for me.
There you go. Everyone should be on fire. Let's see, you're the healthiest. Yeah. So we can do an orchestrate flames to make sure you stay on fire. And then another inflame to increase our ongoing burning effects.
I feel nothing. Feel
Yeah.
nothing.
Sorry, Cabela, you're burning a ton at this point. We've got one enemy with 8 health and one enemy with 58 health. I don't think Ignatius could quite finish it this turn. Maybe if I use the ability, but it's fine. Oh, that one died. And you're left at 25 health. Didn't even get a turn because I assume stunned by the third eye. You are this Tarzus. Let me see. Yeah, you just missed your turn because you were stunned by the third eye. Fantastic. Alright, Abelard. You can't charge? Ah, because Pascal's in the way. There you go. Please charge him.
Be done. Brace yourself, Abelard.
8 health left. Yeah, just kill. Make him bleed.
Victory is reduced to dust.
Another pretty easy fight. Requesting cessation of hostilities. Point to Tarzus, help your brother. Pascal, what did you do to Tarzus? I'm sorry that you had to kill a comrade. I'm not tired at all. In fact, I can finish you off too. Do your worst. No. I'm going to ask him to help his brother. I didn't want this to go to hostilities, and so I'd rather not have their saint die before we had a chance to actually do this investigation. So help your brother. The unit that called itself Tarzus Hanuman is dead, has been disabled. The material asset is beyond restoration or reuse as spare parts. Okay, so there's nothing we can do at this point. He is straight up dead. After a pause, Pascal bows his head and in and a binaric requiem pours out of his vox. Despite his misconceptions, he was a servant of the Omnissiah. Alright, Pascal, what did you do to Tarzus? Pascal's confused reply comes from his vox in a rasp, unable to fulfill request. The Omnissiah granted me an epiphany, and I muted the maimed machine spirit that was filling Tarzus' mind with fury. I do not fully understand the manner of my appeal to it. The situation perfectly mirrors the incident on Bricad Minoris, where I appealed to the machine spirit of a malfunctioning mechanism and laid it to rest. I am not certain that these epiphanies that you're getting from the Omnissiah of how to disable and destroy machinery are coming from the Omnissiah, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm sorry that you had to kill a comrade. I also have a negative assessment of this event. The Adeptus Mechanicus still accuse the unit identifying itself as Pascal Hanneman of criminal theft of a unique identification code. Unlike Tech Brother Tarzus, I am not authorized to immediately execute the unit, but neither am I authorized to drop the inquiry. There are no apostates among us. The piercing voice from the Vox Synth is more overwhelming than Tarzus' thunderous roar. Tech Brother Tarzus and the machine spirit that lived in his battle harness succumbed to the suffering that beset them. Their judgment was rash and erroneous. Now their torment is over. I declare them martyrs, and am requisitioning Tarzus Hanneman's neuroaugmetic for the purpose of preserving his blessed memory. As astonished tech priests look on, Pascal leans over the slain man's body and extracts the augmetic from his skull. His movements are as precise as they are respectful. Pascal? Or whisper, whatever you just did, it's working, keep going. Or listen in silence. Yeah, Pascal? I am curious of what it is you're doing. The tech priest makes an imperious gesture, stopping you from continuing. With each word, Pascal's voice grows more powerful and majestic. You saw the agony your tech brother Tarzus was in. His unbridled, pain-spurred faith intimidated you, yet you were silent. Reverence stopped you from raising your voices to proclaim that the machine spirit with which his mind had merged was morbidly afflicted. The imperative of reverence had paralyzed your will. You watched a tragedy unfold in silence. The sixth universal law states that comprehension is the true path to knowledge, yet the procedural cycle has robbed you of your comprehension. Therefore, let the cycle be discontinued. There is a clang as Opticon 22's knee presses into the floor. Crimson hooded heads are bowed. Let the cycle be discontinued. Wasn't that Abel Hanneman's specific belief that was like out of norm for tech priests? The fact that Pascal is preaching and these people who clearly are not necessarily followers of him are just suddenly bowing down to him and repeating his phrase feels like something wrong is happening. Like, this feels heretic-y. The radiant light pouring out of Pascal's visor grows dimmer. Static creeps back into his voice. Let the cycle be discontinued, tech comrades. Yeah, it feels like something off is happening. Pascal, there's one small point I'm not clear on. What just happened? Was the reason for this act of genuflection? Now that the conflict has been resolved, you may remain aboard my ship. Or clear off. Yeah, what just happened, Pascal? Pascal's vox crackles somewhat tentatively. I decided to sustain my words with an excerpt from one of the Blessed Amarnat's sermons on loss of internal and external function, verse 4. My analysis deemed it appropriate. Right, his name wasn't actually Pascal or Abel Hanneman. It was originally the Blessed Amarnat. And when we went to find the Blessed Amarnat, we found out that Abel Hanneman was there, posing as Amarnat, but wasn't actually Amarnat. I'm trying to recall exactly what all went down there, but I think that's what it was. But he did have the same beliefs, these same sermons that don't fully jive with standard tech priest beliefs. What is the reason for this act of genuflection? It has been a long time since the words of the Messiah of discontinuing were last spoken openly. over public communications bans. We respectfully welcome wisdom's return. Huh. Messiah of Discontinuing. Is that a name for the Blessed Amarnat? That he had a viewpoint that apparently even Opticon 22 had heard and was good with, but he was forced to stop openly speaking it? So he is not forgotten after all. The Messiah of Discontinuing, is that how you referred to Amarnat? Is Amarnat's teachings not heretical? Do you know where Amarnat is now? Were you among his followers? There are lots of good questions here that I hope I can ask all of them. The Messiah of Discontinuing, is that how you refer to Amarnat? Following Archmagos' Amarnat's partial laciation removal from the chain of command, that was the authorship attributed on a series of sermons on discontinuing the cycle that was disseminated across the Cognizance fleet. It was, in fact, a title used by many in times past. Is Amarnat's teaching not heretical? This statement is false. Contrary to what many servants of the Omnissiah thought they knew, preferred to believe, the Fleet Supreme Conclave never issued an official statement on that decision. 37% of the Supreme Conclave's members openly supported Archmagos Amarnat's views and were removed from the chain of command under circumstances that were classified. The Supreme Conclave has not had a quorum ever since. Do you know where Amarnat is now? Data unavailable. No reports have mentioned Archmagos Amarnat since the incident on the Arch Mechanicus Hermetico, which led to the presumed destruction and disappearance of that void ship. My archive has no data on Hermetico incident. The vessel was the Blessed Amarnat's base of operations. Is it lost then? Pascal's voice is filled with anxiety. Were you among his followers? Negative. I had no contact with Archmagos Amarnat and was never a member of his flock disciple retinue. However, my analysis of the doctrine he outlined inspired in me deep respect for, trust in him. Okay. I was worried that Pascal had sort of brainwashed them, but it sounds like this is a belief he held for a while. I presume the conflict between you and Pascal has been resolved. The data received provides a basis for calling the fallen tech brother Tarzus' hypothesis into question. Out of respect for, due to lack of authorization to indict, the followers of the Messiah of Discontinuing, we will not proceed with the detainment, arrest, termination. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. Thank you, Tech Brother Opticon 22. Now that the conflict has been resolved, you may remain aboard my ship. Request denied. The Kappa Thread supply line delegation is leaving Dargonus, expresses gratitude for the hospitality ceasefire, and proclaims its intent to return to Footfall to resume performing its regular functions. The tech priest looks over at Pascal as if waiting for something. Pascal's mechadendrite briefly touches the shoulder of Opticon 22, who bows respectfully. Huh. Well, I guess let's loot all the things now. A new Omniscient Axe. How does it compare to yours? It is way worse in every single way. Fantastic. Then you could just go straight to cargo. Power sword. Probably not. I mean, maybe. Pascal uses chain weapons. Or not Pascal. Abelard uses chain weapons. How does this compare? Nope. Chain axe is still way better. And that is everything.
A new challenge for me?
Fun little side tangent, but it gives us more information about Pascal and his beliefs